We're joined now by Senator Mike Hall, the Finance Chairman of the Senate in the West Virginia Senate, and Majority Leader Senator Mitch Carmichael. Thanks to both of you for being here.
Good morning. It's great to be with you.
So I just can't go a full week without getting an update on the budget process. And Mitch, I know I'm going to start with you. We've been on here talking, and you've been sort of pushing, and I totally agree with it, this sort of three-way solution of dipping a little bit into the rainy day, a small tax increase for tobacco, and cutting expenses, and then look at the whole thing over the next 6 months and really study how to trim back government over the next couple of years.
Yeah. Well, you're right. That is the plan that I believe is the most responsible, balanced approach. And everywhere I go, Bray, when I talk to people about the budget, I think Senator Hall agrees, is that no, people are not for the extremes on either side of this argument. We're $270 million away from having a balanced budget. Some want to raise all that through tax increases on the citizens of West Virginia and backfill the government.
See, but that would not be.
I agree.
I mean, I just think the people are going through. I mean, right now we've got so many people that don't have a job, and to increase taxes and make things more expensive doesn't seem right.
Just to make government whole. You're exactly right. No, I don't think there's a consensus around that plan at all. Likewise, though, some want to cut government by $270 million in a 2-week period during a special session. I just don't think that's reasonable. I think a more balanced...
It's not thoughtful.
It's not thoughtful. It's not reasonable. And I believe a balanced approach in which we raise taxes on cigarettes, we take some out of our rainy day savings account, and we cut government by about $90 million, which are, you know, that is a nice size cut for government. And I believe that is a method that we can move forward in West Virginia and structure our government properly.
Mike, I know you've been in meetings even this past week with folks that were talking about trying to do it all through cuts, but as soon as you get 3 words into that discussion, if there's more than 2 people in the room, you start to have disagreements. Is that a
well, that's true, but in all candor, what we were doing was using our staff and our knowledge of state finances to look at all the full range of things that if you were going to cut, just in total avoidance of the impact, what would they be? And it's true, and you know, that you get a group of people together, that's what happens. I was trying to tell them, and this budget is kind of complicated, the fact that it's 11, I call it, say there are 11 stones you got to turn over, and 4 of them are the big ones. Higher ed, public safety, and DHHR. Most of DHHR money is fairly matched. It's hard to go there. Higher ed, it's very hard to go there because they've already been cut $50 million. Every place you look, there's significant impact. The thing I say is to anybody who's going to vote for cuts, and I'm willing to, but you have to see what the impact is. And it may be before you make your decision that you've decided the impact to our economy is too great to not try to continue to fund something at a certain level.
Yeah, and I have been the longest, biggest proponent of cutting, and downsizing state government. I still believe that's an important way. But what I have found out is you have got to have a thorough, long-term view of what you're doing and what the impact is short-term as well as long-term.
I can tell you that in the past 2 days, and I just got one today, messages from healthcare providers in my area saying they're no longer taking Medicaid patients because their payments are not coming in on time and they cannot afford to do it. And we have 500,000 plus people on Medicaid, and think of that. You know, and these providers have said, a lot of them are saying, we can't survive with this. So, you know, if you cut Medicaid and people are not being taken care of, what's the impact? And I know in 6 minutes you just can't get into all this, but I can tell you short term that everything you look at has got collateral damage that may hurt the economy if you don't fund it, or maybe it helps. I do agree there's low-hanging fruit there to cut. But I did meet with House members who say they don't want any new taxes in a friendly meeting, particularly guys from our district. That's who I invited in. And they came and they sincerely worked to look at that. So that's where we are. We're working toward, all right, if you're going to throw some people off the team, who is it and when are we going to do it?
Mitch?
Well, I just want to sum it up by saying we are going to deliver a balanced budget. This legislature will deliver a balanced budget that does not hurt anyone. We are going to fund PEIA 100%. It will be taken care of. And these vital programs, we will look at the programs that we can cut around the margins and deliver an efficient government. But we are not going to get dug in ideologically on one side or the other, all taxes or all cuts. We're going to find a balanced approach.
Well, and this is really not a time for ideology.
It's not.
This is a time for West Virginians to come together and do the right thing. I do think there should be a long-term study. Maybe the study doesn't have to be long-term, but there needs to be a thorough study and then a thoughtful.
There is a 6-year plan. We look at it. Sadly, the 6-year plan looking out, if you made no cuts or just marginal cuts, even $90 million in cuts.
It's tough.
If you made $90 million in cuts and you had no new revenue, you're out of rainy day fund and all cash in about 2.5 years.
So, Mitch, let me ask you this. We got an election coming up in 10 days now. It seems like the reality, shortly after that election, y'all are going to bring everybody together and try to work this out. Is that fair?
Yes, it's fair, and we've been trying to do that ahead of time. You know, I was one that said, let's get this done ahead of time, let people see it during the primary process, but people get dug in ideologically on this, and it's just not right.
Especially when you're 10 days from an election.
Yeah, but
that's part of the trouble.
That's part of the trouble, but it shouldn't be. I'll say it should not be. We should all put our cards on the table and say, this is where we are from a political perspective and a budget perspective. It's imperative that we deliver this budget. We're going to, and it's been difficult during these declining revenue.
All right, guys, we're out of time.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mitch Carmichael. Thank you, Mike Hall. Right. We'll be right back after this.